There's something different about conversations that happen over tea. They tend to unfold more slowly. People linger longer. Pauses feel natural. Silence doesn't always need to be filled immediately. And somehow, tea creates an atmosphere where conversation feels less performative and more human. Welcome back to TeaMinded. I'm glad you're here. Today we're talking about tea and conversation. Why tea has been connected to meaningful dialogue across cultures for centuries, how tea changes the pace and tone of interaction, and why sharing tea may be one of the simplest ways to create deeper connection in a distracted world. Tea has always been social, not necessarily loud or crowded, but communal. Throughout history, tea houses, tea rooms, and tea gatherings became places where people exchanged ideas, stories, philosophy, business, friendship, and hospitality. In China, tea culture became deeply intertwined with conversation and contemplation. In Japan, tea ceremony emphasized presence and attentiveness between host and guest. In Britain, afternoon tea became a structured social ritual. Across cultures, tea consistently became associated with gathering, and I don't think that's accidental. Tea changes the rhythm of interaction. Unlike fast-moving coffee culture, where people often rush in and rush out, tea naturally encourages lingering. The preparation itself creates space. Water heats slowly, leaves steep gradually, cups are refilled. Conversation unfolds alongside the ritual. And because tea is rarely consumed instantly, it subtly invites patience into the interaction itself. I think one reason tea conversations feel different is because tea creates shared attention. Both people become aware of the same small things: the aroma, the warmth of the cup, the pouring of water, the changing flavor across multiple steeps. The environment becomes calmer, and calmer environments often produce more thoughtful conversations. There's also something remarkably hospitable about offering tea. It communicates care without requiring extravagance. A simple gesture. Would you like some tea? And suddenly the interaction changes. Tea softens space. It creates welcome. Some of the best conversations happen not because someone planned a profound discussion, but because the setting allowed people to slow down enough to speak honestly. Tea helps create those settings, not magically, but atmospherically. I think modern life often works against meaningful conversation. We communicate constantly, but not always deeply. Messages become fragmented, attention gets divided. Silence feels uncomfortable. Even meals are often interrupted by phones and notifications. Tea quietly resists that fragmentation. Preparing and sharing tea asks people to remain present a little longer. And interestingly, tea doesn't demand intensity. Not every tea conversation needs to become deeply philosophical. Sometimes the beauty is simply an unhurried presence. Talking slowly, listening carefully, sitting together comfortably without pressure. Tea allows conversation to breathe. One thing I especially appreciate about tea culture is how it values attentiveness. In many tea traditions, hospitality isn't about impressing people. It's about noticing them, adjusting the tea to the guest, paying attention to comfort, creating atmosphere carefully. Those small acts of attention communicate respect, and meaningful conversation often grows out of feeling genuinely seen and welcomed. Tea also changes our relationship with silence. In many modern conversations, silence feels awkward. We rush to fill gaps immediately. But tea rituals often normalize pauses. Pouring tea creates pauses. Sipping creates pauses. Watching steam rise creates pauses. And sometimes those quiet moments allow deeper thoughts to emerge naturally. I think this is one reason tea has historically been associated with creativity, philosophy, and reflection. Tea slows the tempo just enough for people to think more clearly and listen more carefully. Conversation becomes less reactive, more reflective. If you want to create better conversations at home, tea can actually become a surprisingly powerful starting point. Not because tea itself is magical, but because rituals shape atmosphere. A quiet table, a warm pot of tea, no phones, no rush. Even simple changes in environment can transform interaction. And perhaps the deeper lesson is this: meaningful conversation rarely happens accidentally. It usually requires time, attention, hospitality, and enough stillness for people to speak honestly. Tea helps create those conditions beautifully. As TeaMinded continues, we'll keep exploring tea culture, tea rituals, craftsmanship, mindfulness, and the ways tea shapes thoughtful living and human connection. But today, I hope this episode encourages you to share tea with someone, not to impress them, not to perform hospitality perfectly, just to create a little more space for presence and conversation in a hurried world. Thank you for listening to TeaMinded. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the podcast on Spotify and share it with someone who values tea, conversation, slow living, or meaningful connection. And until next time, put the kettle on, slow down a little, and stay tea-minded.